Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight in Our News, 2 islands knocked off Crystal Cruises' itinerary. Meteorologists keeping an eye on Elsa. Plus, the new school on Ragged Island could be open in January. Welcome to Our News, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. 2 major adjustments to the itinerary of Crystal Cruises' inaugural 7-day voyage throughout the Bahamas. The ship will no longer sail into Bimini, which now has tighter COVID-19 restrictions. Cat Island was also knocked off the itinerary due to facilitation issues.
I guess a bit disappointed in the event, knowing the fact that, everybody was kind of preparing for it.
Business owners and tourism stakeholders on Bimini who prepared for the moment Crystal Cruises docked with hundreds of passengers are disappointed that the ship has been rerouted and will not make a stop there Sunday morning. This after the island was placed under curfew due to an increase in COVID-19 cases. Keisha Russell works in hospitality on the island and says thankfully it's the 4th of July weekend and visitors are still coming in.
It's a boating capital in the Bahamas in terms of and the proximity is close to the United States, so it's like I said, either way, persons are still doing what they can to make a living.
This is a historic voyage with the first major cruise line offering a full 7-day cruise throughout the Bahamas. But according to Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar, it's not just Bimini no longer on the itinerary. Cat Island is gone as well.
The intended point where they were going to disembark their passengers on the island was the Hawk's Nest property. And really, this is an enormous tragedy that happened there. The owner of Hawk's Nest passed away. Then the general manager, you might have heard in the press, was electrocuted and died. And then, so the new owners really were just not interested in using that facility at all for the disembarkation of cruise passengers.
The cruise ship will depart Nassau Harbor Saturday evening and spend 2 nights out at sea until Tuesday when it arrives in Exuma. After that, the cruise sails into San Salvador, then Long Island. According to the Aguilar, it'll wrap up its voyage in Grand Bahama before returning to New Providence.
It is always a bit shaky as you start off something brand new. I'm sure there'll be a learning curve, as with most things. And once we've explored all the kinks in the system, I'm sure the second one will be even better, and they'll improve as the cruises get going.
West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe called it a hit for the business community on Bimini, but insisted there has to be a balance struck to ensure the health and safety of residents and visitors.
I do know that as a result of the curfew, some of those business opportunities will be lost. And so there is concern regarding that from the business community. We do, however, have to do what is in the best interest overall, not only to secure and save lives, but to ensure that the spike that we recently experienced goes down.
The first hurricane of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season battering islands in the Eastern Caribbean earlier today. Christina Dragovich takes a look at how NEMA is preparing in the event the Bahamas is impacted by Elsa.
The National Emergency Management Agency keeping a close eye on the rapid intensification of Hurricane Elsa as it blasts through islands in the Eastern Caribbean. Elsa became a hurricane in waters just west of Barbados early Friday morning. NEMA Director Captain Stephen Russell says although the Bahamas is not in the forecasted cone of the hurricane, there is a chance the country may be impacted by the storm's winds.
Up to this morning, it had winds extend out to 140 miles from the center. So even if it comes along, and there is still a chance that some of the islands can probably experience some sort of tropical storm force winds on the fringes here.
Russell says NEMA has been in contact with Family Island administrators in the southeast Bahamas, as well as those on Andros and Grand Bahama, to ensure they are ready for whatever may come their way.
If it continues a bit more west, before it takes that really go northwest, it's much better for us in the Bahamas. But we'll continue to track it over the next 24, 40 hours until it really clears the entire area. And generally, from what I'm hearing from all the administrators, all the shelter managers and shelter facilities are on standby if we have to use them.
Elsa is bringing heavy rainfall and an increased risk of strong winds as it sweeps across the Windward and Leeward Islands.
We will alert the country in a timely manner once we have the alerts, watches, or warnings from the Department of Meteorology. More so the alerts, which says the system is 60 miles from impacting the Bahamas. That's when we really cranking the machinery to get people doing what they have to do.
The advice remains the same for residents of the Bahamas. Get ready and stay ready.
Hurricane preparedness has become a part of our way of life now, not just waiting until a storm is traveling.
Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Well, residents of the southeastern Bahamas are also keeping tabs on Hurricane Elsa. Jared Higgs has that angle.
Elsa's not of immediate concern to the Bahamas, but its cone shows it passing some of our southeastern neighbors. With the unpredictability of storms, residents on those southern islands are keeping a watchful eye.
They are out running the engines to rescue Swifts that we have available. We have 2 available.
Auckland's island administrator Bradford McKenzie says hurricane prep is underway in any event, and there are a few challenges. Speaking to us by phone, he gives examples like a lack of a hardware store for the island's 700 residents to buy lumber, and the fact that some schools and the airport are prone to flooding. There's also only one hurricane shelter.
Given the climate that we're in, the COVID-19, the shelter that is available can't house that much people.
But residents, led by a local pastor, are renovating an old school in Pinefield to turn into a shelter.
He is doing his best with their own resources, mind you, because of their community mindedness. They are trying to complete that.
Inaguans are also staying aware of Elsa's progress, according to that island's administrator, Marlon Leary, who spoke to our news via Zoom.
I've already contacted all of my government departments, which includes police, defense force, social services. They're all monitoring the progress of this storm, and we have all hands on deck in the event that we would have to take some measures to protect ourselves and our community.
3 shelters have been checked and volunteers have already been identified. Larry says whatever happens, Inaguans will be ready.
The mailboat is doing pretty good with the schedule, and we have the vessel that comes out of the U.S., so food supply in Inagua is, for the most part, we're good.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
Minister of Works Desmond Bannister says the new school on Ragged Island could be ready to welcome students in January 2022. However, the island's MP isn't convinced. Berthany McDermott reports.
Nearly 4 years after Hurricane Irma ravaged Ragged Island, forcing many residents to relocate, Works Minister Desmond Bannister estimates the new school could open in early 2022. Bannister also boasted about the new building being constructed on that island, calling it the sturdiest in the country.
We want to have children in school in Ragged Island in January. If a storm takes out what we're putting in Ragged Island, then everybody should run, because that is going to be the strongest structure in the country. We're going to continue to build like that because we have to.
Bannister also mentioned a new clinic and police station, but gave no timeline for those. In the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis labeled the island uninhabitable and pledged to transform Ragged Island into a green island. Nearly 4 years later, the island has seen little to no progress. While he's happy construction is underway, Area Member of Parliament Chester Cooper said residents aren't enthusiastic about it.
We are hopeful that the school would be ready for January. We're not optimistic, given that it's been 4 years already. The Bahamian people in Ragged Island are very cautious in believing any predictions made by this government.
The PLP deputy leader questioned why other projects are just getting underway nearly 5 years since the FNM government took office.
We look at many of the projects underway by this government that have been started on the verge of year 4, just before elections. I think this style of politics is stale. The Bahamian people want progress. They want tangible forward movement in terms of its infrastructure. And we must stop this state of play in our country.
Cooper said there are other ongoing issues that haven't been addressed, like the need for a nurse.
The Minister of Health and the Prime Minister during the budget debate were not able to answer the question as to whether or when there will be a nurse posted in Ragged Island. So 4 years later, we're still having the same complaint.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, as meteorologists keep their eyes on Hurricane Elsa, Greg Thompson is in studio with the latest.
Thanks, Kyle. Welcome everybody for your TGIF first look at weather. We are in the tropics because what we had yesterday as Tropical Storm Elsa has strengthened to Hurricane Elsa early this morning. 85-mile-per-hour winds. National Hurricane Center had a reconnaissance aircraft in there measuring those winds. Racing towards the west-northwest at around 29 miles per hour. If you notice on the satellite, we have some good outer flow at the upper levels. That's an indication that the system continues to strengthen as it moves towards the west-northwest. Forecast track showing that movement towards the west-northwest, eventually moving into the eastern Caribbean overnight tonight, and by tomorrow afternoon we expect it to be south of Hispaniola. Some of those outer bands could be affecting the southeast Bahamas. We're asking residents down there to continue to monitor the progress of this system. But by early next week, it should be west of Cuba and moving into the Gulf of Mexico, turning more towards the northwest. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, the Nurses Union slams conditions at PMH. Plus, lumber yards prep for the mad dash for supplies. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Four wards at Princess Margaret Hospital have been without air conditioning for nearly a month, according to Nurses Union President Amanda Williams, who says her members are at their boiling point. Here's Julian Gray.
The sweltering heat has been felt daily by patients and healthcare workers at PMH as the air conditioning on 4 wards is down, according to Bahamas Nurses Union President Amanda Williams.
Just up to Monday, I've called everybody from the minister, and today I can tell you this government don't care. The minister have not addressed me yet once on that air conditioning situation.
Last month, the health minister said the AC units were being assessed by a contractor and admitted that at times these systems are outdated. Williams says she has received complaints from nurses and patients. She says fans have been placed on some wards, but they are only circulating hot air.
And Julius Roll, PHA chair, and the deputy called me in reference to those air conditions. Because I call everybody and their mother to fix that air condition and send the Prime Minister a note. It's ridiculous.
The cries for air conditioning is not one for comfort or convenience, but to be in line with health and safety best practices. As Williams says, a plethora of challenges will arise from not having air conditioning on those wards.
Heat is not good for the hospital. Joint Commission would have closed it down a long time. Heat causes growth of bacteria and the spread of disease. That's why every hospital has to be at a temperature, a certain temperature. For aseptic technique to be carried out by a nurse, you can't be sweating over no wound. You can't be dripping body fluids. You're going to reinfect the patient. So there's those who are sitting in these positions that are not healthcare oriented, and they know this. This is for you.
She applauded PHA officials for getting the AC unit and female medical one up and running, but says management must keep up with maintenance, and not just at PMH, as clinics like Flamingo Gardens and Fleming Street have also had AC challenges. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian.
Lumberyards are hoping for a major jump in sales as hurricane season gets into full swing. With Elsa now a Category 1 hurricane, many residents aren't taking any chances. However, Kelly's Lumberyard sales rep Alex McKenzie said the global increase in the cost of wood, especially plywood, has some thinking twice.
People have been making their rounds in terms of getting their prices before they come in and purchase. And even though prices have went up on building materials, we still have an influx of customers because people are still in the process of construction. And then again, it's the start of hurricane season, so a lot of people want to get prepared with patching up those the roofs before any leakages start to happen with major rain or whatever else.
Premier Importers Chief Operating Officer Daniel Leah says before the pandemic, a sheet of plywood was $25. Now it's $51. He said, unfortunately, it's the consumer who feels the pinch more, especially during the hurricane season. Despite this, he says people are still coming in.
Every hurricane season, if it's scheduled or on a direct course to us, we usually expect an increase of business for everyone to prepare accordingly with all types of supplies, especially plywood to board up, and as well as batteries, lanterns, generators, first aid kits, so on and so forth from our hardware store as well.
Still to come, cane toads are back. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. The Department of Environmental Health Services is warning the public about a re-emergence of cane toads here in the province. Here's Jared Higgs.
It's an unwelcome intruder that's elusive, adaptable, and also poisonous.
Just give you an idea of size. Or the size of my hand.
Cane toads are native to Central and South America, but a huge population in Florida has resulted in an infiltration here on New Providence.
You're going to want to wear gloves. This toad does contain a bufotoxin. It does secrete a bufotoxin all over its body.
Environmental scientist Scott Johnson is an expert in handling cane toads and has worked with the Department of Environmental Health Services to capture toads and educate the public on them. That department released a statement yesterday warning about a re-emergence in cane toads, with residents spotting them in northern and central areas of New Providence.
One of the reasons why we don't want it here is because it is an invasive predator that can cause a lot of problems for our native terrestrial wildlife.
Johnson says cane toads find themselves here via shipping containers. When they arrive, they outcompete other native wildlife, in particular the Bahamian and Cuban tree frogs, for limited food resources. The species is also a threat to animals like snakes and large birds that will die if they try to eat it.
So if you look at how it jumps, it does not jump far like our Cuban tree frogs.
Johnson, an environmental scientist at Braun Limited, demonstrates how to catch a cane toad in this video posted a year ago. If you aren't willing to catch them, he encourages you to contact the Department of Environmental Health and forming a chemical barrier around your yard. That barrier should include 2 parts Dettol or Salvol and 1 part water sprayed around the perimeter of your premises. Another warning.
You are going to want to make sure that your pets are properly put away in places that they want to get access to cane toad. Because if a dog, for example, does lick or bite the cane toad, that dog could be dead in as little as 15 minutes.
The environmental expert says better inspection at the borders could lead to less cane toads on the island.
If you hear about things like cane toads, learn a little bit more about cane toads. Because cane toads are a problematic species and they are dangerous to Bahamian wildlife and to our domestic animals.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
One of the country's largest feeding programs is getting a helping hand from at-risk young men who have been given a second chance. Jasmine Brown has a story.
The 2 teens who lost just about everything over a year ago say they now found their purpose in life, and that's giving back to others. 19-year-old Nair Allwood and 18-year-old Ambrose Smith are 2 teens on a mission. Just over a year ago, the 2 young men were homeless and in need of a helping hand, which they got from Teen Challenge Bahamas. Today, they and other residents of the facility are regular volunteers at Hands for Hunger.
I know what it's like to go a night without food, and to see, a lot of time people come out here and they try to, when we help them to give us stuff, but I can't take because, they come in for stuff to eat, so it's like we take it from the needy, and I didn't really see that as an option.
Being here, it makes me happy, it makes me feel comfortable, just to put a smile on these people's faces, because during my childhood, I never even used to smile or what's not, it wasn't no reason to.
It's a lesson that is well learned, according to Teen Challenge Executive Director Eric Fox, who says a part of helping at-risk young men heal is helping them realize they are a part of a bigger picture.
I tell them every day, go down there and show yourself different. Go and show them, despite of the stigma that is on the young men, you can go, you can be obedient, you can work hard. Even though you're not being paid, you're willing to give something back to society.
And their time and effort has not gone unnoticed by those they assist.
I do not see them as troubled young men. I see them as aspiring individuals that want to be someone in life. And our team, like I say, we mentor them every single day that they come to us.
The teens say they hope their actions prove that past mistakes do not determine a person's future.
Guys, first of all, go to school, stop minding bad company. Let's get it. We could make this through.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The national men's basketball team is in El Salvador preparing to play against Cuba. Marcellus Hall has that and more tonight in sports.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome to our Sports on a Friday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Our men's national basketball team, they're in El Salvador right now. They've got to play 3 games. If they win, they'll advance to get ready for the qualifications process for the next World Championships. Let's take a look and see exactly what's ahead. Men's national basketball team going through their final workout ahead of tonight's game versus Cuba. The team will play 3 games while in El Salvador. The team made up of Gavin Clark, Franco Miller, Quincy Poitier, Kimsey Sylvester, Travis Munnings, Jonathan McFall, Kentuan Smith, Michael Thompson Jr., Will Mackey, Ramad Dean, and Sammy Hunter. Head coach Chris DeMarco says there is a sense of urgency to get the job done.
Yeah, we understand how important this tournament is to get back into the World Cup qualifiers. We spent a lot of time on this roster. We have 4 guys back who have been playing with us: Willis Mackey, Kentuan Smith, Michael Thompson, and Travis Munnings. So we got those 4 guys. Everyone else is new to this team. We've got a few college guys, got some guys who play overseas, and some local players. And so we're excited about the mix. We're still getting everything in right now. We only got 1 practice before our first game. Obviously, with the COVID protocol, it's been tough on everyone. So.
And there it is, a check on sports for you here on this Friday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Have a great weekend. Meanwhile, back to you.
The gospel community rallying behind Bishop Walter Hanchel. The story when Our News returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to Our News. As meteorologists continue to monitor Elsa, Greg is back in studio with the extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Kyle, and welcome everybody back for your second look at weather. What was Tropical Storm Elsa has now strengthened to Hurricane Elsa, moving across the Windward Islands as we speak. It's going to be moving into the Eastern Caribbean overnight, so the warning's dropping for those islands. We are going to continue to watch this as the system continues to move quickly towards the west-northwest at around 29 miles per hour. 85 mile per hour winds, very strong system. We could see some of those rain bands affect the southeastern islands by tomorrow evening and into Sunday. Dip in the jet stream will eventually turn the system towards the northwest and keep it to the west away from the Bahamas. So we'll continue to watch the system over the next couple of hours. Your boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the southeast to south 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. While in the southeast Bahamas, as Elsa draws near, those winds picking up east to southeast 15 to 25 knots. Small craft advisory. Seas running 5 to 8 feet over the ocean. Low tide will be at 9:23 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Wednesday. We will continue to monitor the progress of Elsa. We'll keep you abreast of everything throughout the rest of the weekend. That's your look at weather. Back to you, Kyle.
The gospel community is coming together to host a very special event and concert for Great Commissions Ministries founder, Bishop Walter Hanchel. After years of helping the homeless, Hanchel is fighting the greatest battle of his life, stomach cancer. Event co-organizer Minister Kevin Harris says their aim is to not only raise money, but also celebrate a man who has dedicated his life to serving others.
Now Bishop needs our help. And so we felt that it's really our responsibility as really persons who have been influenced and impacted by his ministry and his life, that we should come together at this time and do something significant. We're looking to raise funds to assist him with his medical expenses, and it's also a time for him to be encouraged by the tributes that will be poured out on him that evening.
The appreciation and benefit service is being held at the Diplomat Center at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Due to social distancing protocols, 350 people will be allowed inside the center. Co-organizer Edison Sumner says the service will be broadcast on social media and on the Bahamas Christian Network. He added the event will feature some of the top gospel acts in the country.
We have some fantastic artists on the program, Denzel Roll and Friends, Christopher Roberts, Shabak, Edison Sumner and VOP is going to be there, Christian Massive, DJ Counselor, DJ Godson, Najee Dunn, Shanique Thurston, Sine Russell, and who am I missing? Bishop. Oh, and you know, we can't have a concert in this country without the Bishop, right? So we're going to have the Bishop, singing Bishop, Lauren Scholl is going to be there.
Now, while no tickets are being sold, Sumner says donations will be accepted at the event and through the family's GoFundMe account. Well, thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Have a beautiful Friday evening, Bahamas.